I want to get into the topic here, right?
Yeah.
And the topic is pandas are not real.
Let me hear this.
Yeah, it sounds crazy. I know.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it sounds crazy. But yeah, no, they're not real apparently. And I saw this originally from a guy on I think he was Taiwanese. He had made like a TikTok or something, and he was just like he was so adamant about it. Like you could just tell in his eyes, he was like he believes it. And I was like, when I saw that, I was like, all right, what are we getting into?
Yeah.
Let's dive into it. Why not?
So it's like talking to someone who believes in Bigfoot. It's like,
Yeah. But it's like it's the opposite because the Bigfoot community is like Bigfoot's real, and here we have pandas, and they're saying no, they're not real.
I feel like it's a small community. I'll tell you that for
It's
pandas
a
aren't real.
smaller community than Bigfoot. I'll tell you that. I can confidently say that.
I firmly believe in Bigfoot. Do you not?
No.
Really?
I believe in giant sloths. I believe that.
Oh, come on.
No.
You're
Giant
telling
sloths
me
are real.
So you're telling me that some from like, so if you're seeing Finding Bigfoot,
Yeah, I've seen it.
I know we're going a little off topic, but
Yeah,
it's just kind of like a generic.
It's
like
never a bad time to talk about Bigfoot.
Yeah, right now, yes. Have you ever so you've seen Finding Bigfoot, right? There's this guy called so the B what's his name? But there's one guy on that. So the whole Finding Bigfoot team, I could be like, they're probably on something crazy.
Yeah.
You know, but there's one guy, and he really he said he's seen a Bigfoot. Like,
yeah.
you could tell when you talk to someone, right? It's like,
Yeah.
When you ask me a question, have I seen a UFO? I think I do. And you ask me, I'm like,
Yeah.
my eyes. I'm like, I have.
Yeah.
It's like how they ask him questions is like, have you seen a UFO? He's like, Bobo. They call him Bobo.
He named it.
They call him Bobo on the episode.
Oh.
And the show they call him Bobo. But yeah, Bobo.
Bigfoot.
No. But how he says he's seen Bigfoot is like, this man's not lying. Like, you just tell him the eyes.
That's the whole thing. I believe they believe that. There's no doubt in my mind they believe that.
But sloths aren't in California, right? They're not.
Well, it's not about like that where they are now, but they're in South America. They were in South America.
And they found
They
their
went
way up
extinct.
through
Yeah,
a freaking
saber-tooth.
airplane.
You believe in the saber-tooth tiger?
Yes,
Yeah, went extinct.
that's fair.
Yeah. So, So if you haven't noticed yet, normally we do recorded videos and we put them on YouTube. Today we're doing a live show, so it's gonna get a little wild. Sometimes when we go off topic, we just cut it out. But today we don't have the luxury. All right. So I just want to go off right off the bat here, and I just want to say there are under 2,500 pandas in the world today.
Okay.
Right, and this theory has been coined the Pandela effect, which I love.
What?
The Pandela effect. Yeah, dude. Genius, right?
Yeah.
So it all started with a viral TikTok, like I said before. There's a guy called Robin Ryder, and he talked about the panda conspiracy. And he basically was talking about that they've been lying to us. Conspiracy theories always like to say they're lying to us. These are fake animals.
Yeah.
But to me, it feels like the more I dove into it, it doesn't just feel like a conspiracy theory, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the theory is, what if until just recently, and compared to how long humans have been around, pandas weren't here at all, right? They could have been engineered. They could have been some bizarre genetic experiment. They could have been Frankensteined together. But yeah, so basically, let's get into it.
Yeah.
The biology, right?
Okay, here we go.
So the panda's anatomy.
Looks like a bear.
It looks like a bear, right?
Yep.
And I'm just going to pull this up real quick, just as we start. Okay, that wasn't what I wanted to show you. But you get the point. This isn't as extreme as what I wanted it to be.
So in that picture...
I just wanted to start off with that to say, hey, it has been done. People have faked.
Question though.
Okay.
In that picture, is that baby panda an actual panda?
The baby?
Yes.
Well, that's the big question, right? Obviously, the big one isn't, but
the big one's not for sure.
It could be a psyop.
The small one, I can see.
I'm gonna get into the eyes later, but the anatomy doesn't quite make sense. Their eyes in Chinese, actually, I was talking to my wife about this. In Chinese, they're called bear cat.
Bear cat.
That's the name of a panda in Chinese, bear cat. And it's because their eyes are not like any other eye.
Looks like a raccoon.
Yeah, well, there's some different
More than
stuff.
a bear cat.
Yeah, their eyes, the pupil is the
Mhm.
shape of a cat, and it's not like a bear, right? So this right here is a bear's eye, and on the left you've got a cat's eye.
Wait, so you're telling me the panda has a left eye?
Yeah, the left eye. No other bear
What?
has that eye.
I have a question though. How? Question.
Okay.
I don't know the answer to this.
Yeah.
So when a cat has those eyes, right? Like a panda, I guess.
Yeah.
What can they see? Is it gray or
No, they see in full color. So pandas have really good vision, and they can see in full
do they
color.
have better vision than a human? Like
I don't know compared to a human, but
because I feel like a lion is that's
it's
crazy.
good for night vision.
Ooh.
So they have night vision.
Watch humanity do shit like this.
Yeah,
very soon.
right.
I'm telling you.
We've already been doing it. We've already been doing it.
Like reptiles, not like conspiracy, but that's crazy though.
Yeah. The eyes are different, right?
Because that looks like a wait. Does a cat eye have a very similar to a reptilian eye?
Actually, that's the okay. That's the craziest
Yeah, here we
thing.
go.
Yeah, okay, real quick, but okay, we're gonna do 1,000 fucking
Yeah,
sidebars.
we're on
but here we
Twitch.
go.
We're on
yeah,
Twitch.
Here we
Yeah.
go. Okay, so cats, right? That's why they say they were worshipped in Egypt, because you know how like the snake or whatever is represented as the Satan or the devil. Cats have eyes like snakes. No other cat has that. No other tiger, lion, jaguar, puma, mountain lion, mountain cat. Nothing.
Just a cat.
Only a house cat has a snake eye.
What?
And they were worshipped by the Egyptians. Yeah. Which, honestly, I just now realized that a cat has a different eye than all the other cats. And now this guy's got a cat eye different than all the other ones. But there could be some weird, engineering going on here, right? Some genetically engineering thing going on. Okay. So, yeah, these are their eyes. I wanted to show this one right here because this one's kind of funny. Without the black, this is what their eyes would look like. They kind of look silly, right?
Yeah.
All right. But here we go. We're about to do a deep dive, all right? We're about to fall into a panda-shaped rabbit hole. Okay? All right. So, this is where it gets crazy. They were completely missing from history for thousands of years.
Pandas were.
Yes. So, there was no ancient Chinese art or literature about them.
How long ago was this?
Well, they were discovered. They were originally, somebody said the 1920s, but I did do a research and.
Wait, so you're telling me before anyone before 1920 they didn't see him? I thought I saw something in 1860 though.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. So
1800s.
the viral thing was wrong. 1869, so a little bit before, right? But so China China as a whole, right?
Yeah.
It has over 5,000 years. China's been around. Makes you feel young, doesn't it?
Wait,
China's been around for
longer than
5,000
USA?
years. Longer than the USA? Are you kidding me? 5,000 years.
I thought China was.
We're like 275. We're like 275 years old.
What about the current government though? Like how long are they?
I don't know.
But China as a country is the same.
Yeah, I don't know.
Kind of like Russia, Soviet Union.
Yeah, basically,
okay,
like
cool.
those people, they've been speaking that language. They've been around.
Mandarin, all that stuff.
Yeah. And what's crazy is they have 4,000 years of recorded history. 4,000 years of recorded history. And with that, there's not been one mention of a panda in all of those 4,000 years. We talked about it the other day about, do you think, has there been any place in the world that people haven't walked or been to?
So you're telling me before they discovered in 1869, nothing?
Nothing.
I have a question.
Okay.
Who is it the current government format the same?
No.
Now I'm thinking.
Oh, actually.
Now I'm thinking.
No.
Because now I'm thinking, is it like government led?
Well,
to be special.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna get into that.
Yeah.
That's
what I'm thinking.
You're doing the smart thing, because in a conspiracy theory, you always got to figure out what's the motive, but what's more important is always follow the money. Where's the money going?
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you just did that. You just connected the dots, right?
Yeah.
So there was not even a sketch. There was no writings about it. There was no art about it. And I don't know if you've ever seen ancient Chinese art, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, like, they do everything. And then think about how important animals are in Chinese culture. You know what I mean? The Chinese zodiac, the different animals in the zodiac.
Yeah.
Everyone's got an animal in the zodiac. The dragon has an animal in the zodiac.
Really?
Yeah. My son's a dragon.
Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah. I'm a snake.
Yeah. But let's just go into a few things here. I wrote down a few notes here. So 1869, right? That's when the first one was done. 155 years ago, right? And that's not ancient at all.
No, it's
So-
like that's recent.
Yeah,
terms.
in the Chinese zodiac, they've had, cat, dog, mouse, rat, dragon, pig, all these different
Imagine
things.
you're the rat. Ew.
I'm a pig, and I'm
What are
happy
you?
with it.
You're not even Jerry. You're a rat.
Yeah,
You're a mouse.
you're
You're
a rat. Yeah, and there's all these crazy stories, like how you get your Chinese zodiac. There's a beautiful story about all the animals had a race, and it's really cool. But that's just like so suspicious that it's only been 155 years that there's been no mention of panda, right? And in 1869, when they were first discovered, that is the same year margarine was invented.
What's margin?
It's like you cook with it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The Suez Canal opened. Jesse James robbed his first bank, started his career robbing banks. Goldman Sachs, Heinz, and Campbell's Soup were founded the same year that they found the panda bear.
So what if? Now I'm thinking now. Like, talk
You're
to me.
starting to think about it.
Because now I'm thinking is
Okay.
there was so much of a story in America, they wanted a story in China.
Yeah.
So like, hey, like, oh, Jesse James, oh, like Campbell's, the Wild Wild West,
Yeah, Hollywood.
the Wild Wild West. China was like, I want something.
Yeah.
Where's our story?
Yeah, we got
Pandas.
Dragon. That's all we got.
Dragon's badass. Not gonna lie.
It is pretty cool.
Badass.
But it's also the year that Rasputin, Gandhi, and Neville Chamberlain were born. So some pretty powerful. I mean, think about Gandhi. You know what I mean? We still talk about
Yeah,
Gandhi today.
yeah.
Not that old. That was 100 years before we landed on the moon.
Mm.
Dude, we were on our way to the moon when China discovered a panda. No written
Wait.
stories about him.
Wait, we were on our way to the moon. What year?
100 years after this. But we were working towards it. We were working towards it. You know what I mean? We were on our way. We
In
had it in
1869.
our target. We had it in our sights.
In 1869, we're going to the moon.
Oh yeah, dude. Probably thinking about it.
We're already there. I'm saying, but continue.
All right. So this is actually kind of weird too. On the CIA website, got your eyebrows
This is what I
raised.
like. CIA
Okay.
website. I always love this.
Yeah,
The
you-
documents.
Oh, dude.
CIA documents are more.
Yeah.
No one looks at the CIA documents.
No, they don't.
They don't.
You can look it up right now.
Because like I can be like I say right now. Well, we never went to the moon, but there's CIA documents. No, we went to the moon, but there's CIA documents that talk about we never went to the moon.
How to hoax it?
Yes, CIA documents.
Yeah, you put a .gov in front
Yep.
of me. I'm gonna clean the plate.
I'm
dude.
going to. Yes,
Dude,
But you
I
were
love
saying
a
that.
.gov. So okay, so there was a document, and you can look it up, but this is where it gets freaky because if you look it up and you go to that beautiful website .gov,
Yep.
got a little disclaimer there. You're gonna be found with a whole bunch of redactions, blacked out everything, dude. Why are they blacking out the stuff about the pandas? They're freaking pandas,
Wait,
right?
is a document about pandas?
It's about panda trade. Yeah, you didn't like that, did you? 1958, panda trade. But this goes into what you were talking about earlier about following the money, right? When these things came around. So 1958. So 1869 they were discovered. 1958 CIA
So
is getting involved.
1958 was before the Cold War,
Yeah,
and it was post World War II. I'm trying to
dude. I think this was freaking. When was the Civil War?
Civil War, dude. Come on. Civil War was in like 1860s. Abraham Lincoln, baby. Come on.
Okay, so 1861 to 1865, the Civil War ended before they found a panda.
What? Wait. There were no You're not shitting
I
me.
swear to God, look it up. There was nothing. I talked to my wife about this. Pandas aren't even big in Chinese culture.
You're telling me
They have nothing to do with them.
Christopher Columbus ran through the waters to visit America and said he found mermaids
Yeah.
before we discovered
Yeah.
pandas.
And we had a civil war, dude.
What the
We had a
fuck?
civil war, and there was no mention of pandas. Yeah. All right. So they talked about these, and basically, this guy was trying to get permission to bring a giant panda over to the United States. And the director of Central Intelligence, the head of CIA,
Yeah.
during the Cold War, like you mentioned, he was talking to the Treasury Department, who denied the panda importation license.
Wait, so
And-
they were trying to like deport pandas into America?
Yeah, import them in.
Ooh.
Yeah. But this is what they said. This is a quote. it would constitute a serious departure from the basic policies underlying the foreign assets control. And exceptions have been made to the foreign assets control policy only where some significant security or comparable national interest of the United States would be served. Weird. It makes no sense. Why are we acting all weird about pandas, right?
America or China?
This was the United States. Yeah.
So was China trying to we're cool with it, or was America like,
yeah,
nah?
so originally, like, all of a sudden, China's got pandas, right? And they were trying to, like, gift them out to people.
I want a panda.
I want a panda too.
Yeah.
They're really cute. But so in 1869, how they were found, right? There was a French, he was like a priest, nationalist kind of guy. He was an explorer type. His name was Armand David. And he was exploring China, walking around, doing what foreigners do in China, you know, probably hitting up all the pubs, getting drunk in the streets and stuff.
Yeah.
But he was weird. He would collect animal parts. And he was super into, like, animals and different weird stuff, wacky, different animals that he'd find. And he would send them back to Paris, right? But there was a day in April, him, and I guess he had some hunters he hired in China, brought him the skin of a weird black and white bear. He was the first guy.
It sounds like kind of like Bigfoot story.
Really?
Because there was a story that there was hair given to scientists of a Bigfoot. They still can't identify the hair.
Really?
Yeah. This is a legit story. I can look into it like later on to another like conspiracy theory, but
Yeah.
yes.
That is pretty weird.
But that's crazy though. Like, so he found a pelt,
So the first guy to ever find it was a French priest,
not a Chinese.
not a Chinese. It's weird, right? And I was thinking about this. I was like, that would be a perfect way to convince Westerners that pandas are real, is to have a foreigner find them.
Yeah, but did that foreigner get rich off of it?
No. So actually, it's kind of weird what he did with it. So he documented it, he shipped it off, and basically worldwide news. Boom, pandas are a thing now. Pandas are here.
I have a question though.
Yeah.
So was at the time when he was discovered in 1869, was it a rarity of panda, and they've been expanding further now?
No one ever knew what a panda. Chinese were like, what is that?
So the
He was
panda
like a
community
panda.
hasn't grown since. It's the same.
Oh, well, I mean, I'm sure they didn't go out and do like a census of like see how many there were at that time.
Yeah, because now I'm thinking is like, okay, so what if in 1869 there was like 600 pandas, right? 500,
Yeah.
400, maybe less than that.
Yeah.
Then that once it was discovered and they were able to get an XY and XX chromosome of two pandas, so a male and female, and they were to breed to create more.
Yeah. I mean, that's possible. I mean,
You
we
know?
don't know how many there were. All we know is this dude, this French priest, they shot and killed a panda, and they sent his
killed the
fur.
panda?
They killed it. The
They
first
eat-
one they found, they killed
Did
it.
they eat the meat?
No. No, they didn't eat the meat.
What do you think it tastes like?
Well, actually, I got some notes on that. Yeah, I got some notes on it because it's weird and kind of cool. And we're all curious about how pandas taste.
Yeah,
So
I feel like it tastes like a horse, or like a boar.
I could see a boar.
I can see a boar.
Yeah, kind of like fat. But I don't know, boars are kind of like muscly. And pandas are doughy. They don't really do nothing.
Don't ain't fat.
Yeah. All right. So the panda that he found apparently is still around, and it's in some subterranean vault under the Natural History Museum in Paris. It's not even out on display. It's
So I can't see the pelt.
No, it's underground and it's in a vault. They hid it. They're hiding it.
I can see why.
Why?
So I'm going off of like the recent researcher, right? Currently, right now. So this is where I'm going loophole now. So you know the recent wolf that was discovered, the wolf that was reborn,
Yeah. The dire wolf.
the dire wolf. Let me hear it. What if? Because it's not an original dire wolf.
Mm.
What if that panda pelt? I don't know if this is true. I don't know if this is. I'm talking out of my butt.
Oh, I see where you're going.
Has like original genetics
Yeah.
that doesn't match
Right.
to the panda genetics we have currently. Because
Whoa.
what if they remade the panda?
Yeah. I mean, it's either one of two things.
That could be
Either-
why. That could be
It's
why.
either that the genetics don't match, or two, that like they just created them and that was the first one. So I mean, it is weird that it's kind of
In a vault?
underground.
Come
underground.
on.
Yeah, well, there's
Come on.
other animal parts under there, but we don't know what kind of animal parts. But we do know that is under
Bigfoot.
the Natural History Museum in Paris.
What?
Yeah, it's weird.
That should be a human right to see. I'm telling you, a human right. You could just see.
Yeah.
Like, why are you hiding it from us? A panda pelt? Come on.
That's like when you think of China, you think of pandas. Everyone thinks of pandas. Like they're cute, they're cuddly, like.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, but everyone thinks of pandas when you think of China. And what's funny is Chinese people don't even think nothing of them. They're like, yeah, that's kind of like a new thing, whatever. But yeah, as we talked about earlier, I did want to kind of hit on the point about the Chinese zodiacs, right? So
Yeah.
they got monkeys, roosters, pigs, dragons, and technically, a dragon doesn't even exist, right?
No.
Do you think they exist? Or did exist?
So, I mean, it doesn't relate to the driest theory, doesn't, in my opinion. But I feel like I think there was multiple different dinosaurs. Like, I feel like the T-Rex wasn't the first to roam the world. I feel like before the
Yeah.
T-Rex was dragons.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, maybe dragons were like
Yeah.
the Eastern, like maybe they had found bones and wrote in legends about them. But even at that point, that would make sense because why would Chinese people who probably found dinosaur bones and came up with the idea of a dragon, and they have stories and legends about these dragons, but like nothing about a panda? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I mean, also, isn't humanity? Don't they say like when it comes to like humanity, we came from the ocean, correct?
That we
When it comes
what?
Humans came from the ocean, like originally.
Yeah. I mean, the very first life forms. Yeah.
So if humans
they-
come from the ocean, why
yeah.
can't dragons come from the ocean? Like reptiles, right?
I mean,
why
everything
can't reptiles?
came from the ocean? Everything. So yeah, dragons.
Yeah, why can't reptiles develop wings? I
Yeah.
mean, it's very possible.
I mean, they did pterodactyls and whatnot. But I wanted to get into my next part here.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, pterodactyls. All right, I'm gonna get into my next part here, right? So people believe that the reason they weren't mentioned is because they were mistaken for these guys, tapirs, because they're white and black. So there's a lot of written things about tapirs, right? These little guys right here. My mouse will work. These guys. So
What?
there's a lot of information about these guys in Chinese history. They weren't a big deal.
They're not anteaters.
No, this is a tapir. It's like a pig. Yeah, it's basically a pig.
Are they still existent? Like,
Yeah, dude, these things are around. They're everywhere.
Can you eat them?
Why do you always want to eat everything?
So I feel like that would look like a pig. Like a pig has.
I mean, yeah, it's
a pig has some good dogs, dude.
I think it's in the pig family.
some good dogs.
Look at
Right?
this. It's like an elephant and a pig combined, dude. It's kind of wacky looking.
It's weird.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
What?
in their own
I
little
can I
way.
can see the misconception of why pandas were not discovered because what if they thought they were?
They
tapirs?
thought they were these, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, if you come across an open field and you saw a panda sitting there, it doesn't like get up and run off like a deer, and you're like, oh, I think I saw it. I think I saw it. They
Okay.
just sit there.
They sit there. I'm gonna say one thing though. If I'm 80 feet from a panda, right?
Yeah.
Panda or a tapir. If I'm 80 feet from a tapir, right?
Yeah.
We're saying panda. I'm not gonna go to a big animal,
Why not?
right? And pandas don't attack humans.
No, they don't.
So you're not. So if example, right? If I see a bear, right? I'm not gonna go to the bear. So I'm gonna stay my distance.
Yeah. But if it was a bear you'd never seen, like if you came out into a field and you saw a giant, like blue bear, you wouldn't kind of get closer to kind of make sure what you're seeing.
I go take pictures, but
Yeah.
but before what 1920?
So
they
for
didn't have pictures for
4,000
that?
years of recorded history, nobody ever was like came up on a panda sitting there eating a piece of bamboo and was like, I'm not gonna get closer and see.
Yeah, the question I have to ask you though, when was tapirs founded? Discovered, yeah. Because that would, you know what I'm saying? Like, if it was discovered in... See, the thing is,
You might have
tapirs
unlocked
have to be
something here.
well known back in the day for it to not be like, that's not a panda. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, I got scared for a minute because I saw something about
Tapeworm?
no tapir that in 2013. But no, no, it was basically a new version of them. So let's find the first discovery of a tapir, and that was so the first documented tapir is from 1526.
So there's an argument to me now. It's like,
1526 versus 1869. I mean,
I don't like that
it's-
because still China has been alive for, we say, 800 years.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't
It's
know.
weird.
Yeah.
That is.
So
I'm saying that. That's weird.
I'm getting some different things here, but I don't have time to go into the like the.
Yeah, of course.
But I'll say this. Who was this? A Spanish explorer found it in North America. They're in North
A
America
tapir?
too. Yeah.
It's crazy. How it's never homeland people.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's weird.
Yeah, that is weird.
is.
I never thought about that.
I mean, now these days I can understand because we have so much cultures in America, like in the world,
Yeah.
America, all that stuff. Back in the day, though, like what the heck?
Yeah, I guess if you're like born in an area, you
No.
don't explore the area.
You're telling me, so China is known for its farmland, for
Yeah.
its land, all that kind of stuff,
How
like
much
farm.
land? Yeah.
How can you not see a panda?
There's no way
There's no way. I agree. There's
Of
no way. I agree. There's no
4,000
way. I
years
agree. There's
of
no way.
documenting it. So that was the first one. This little tapir guy, right? Now I'm gonna get into this one. They also thought that there's mythical stories about this one, which is called the Mo. This guy. But to me, that looks like a tiger.
Yeah, it looks like a tiger.
So people say that this thing, the Mo, is basically like what they thought a panda was, or they like. So the basically the theory is that Chinese people wanted to protect pandas, so they wrote about them in a different way. But if it was me, I wouldn't draw a panda
no,
like this.
I would
you?
just say don't kill pandas.
Yeah, I would just be like, hey guys, there's a thing called pandas, and we're not going to kill them.
I mean, Christians we should go to China and get crucified,
Yeah,
and don't you say don't listen to Christians?
yeah,
That makes no sense.
yeah. Basically, I'll just describe it to you. There was a Mo and Zuo Yu, and this was basically it was like a tapir, that one. And the last one was a dragon, which was the Qilin. This fucking mouse. All right. So yeah, but to me, that one looked like a tiger. The other one looks like a tapir, and the last one looked like a dragon. So to me, like, you can't mess up a panda, dude.
No, you can't.
You can't.
I
mess
totally
up a
agree.
panda.
You can't. I mean,
So
so if I saw an image, right, of a bear, I'd be like, okay, now we're getting somewhere. Maybe like they can like maybe it's different colors. Maybe like they were confused, but none of that resembles to a bear.
no.
A tiger, a dragon. There's no way. There's no way.
And
I mean, come on.
this is what's weird too, okay? And this one to me is what really sold it for me. So we talked about like how animals are really important to Chinese people, right?
Yes.
And they base a lot of like their beliefs and off of it, and same with the zodiac and stuff. But in ancient art, right? The Buddhist and the Taoist traditions, they're like every animal has been documented that they have, unless it's like some new version of a beetle or something, right? But the main thing to me was the meditation practices and the martial arts that are based on animals. And if you think about it, the crane style, martial art. The snake style, you've got praying mantis, you've got like the grasshopper, all these different things. Tiger. I mean, think about a kung fu panda. All the different martial arts, those are all based on different martial arts, kung fu practices, right?
Yeah.
And meditation practices. There's meditation practices off of the grasshopper, off of cicada. Like, but you're telling me that they don't talk about pandas? They don't have an art form or a meditation based off of a panda? And think about this. If a Buddhist monk, right? When you think of a Buddhist monk, what do you think about? First thing that comes to mind in your head.
Meditation.
Meditation. So, to me, a Buddhist monk almost like they represent what a panda is. Think about it. A panda would have a meditation practice named after it. They're vegetarians. Buddhists are vegetarians. Panda's vegetarian. They sleep all day and they meditate. They're just lazy, like a monk. They don't have any natural predators. Nothing hunts the panda. That's pretty powerful.
Has there been a case where a panda's killed a human?
No, dude.
Holy shit.
And they're peaceful, like a monk. And the last thing,
But they're part of the bear.
that's what's weird. But the craziest thing is about the panda is they don't like sex. They will not have sex. We have to make them have sex. Like a Buddhist monk. Buddhist monks don't like sex. So you got peaceful, vegetarian, no predators, they're lazy, sleep all day, and they don't like sex. Just like a Buddhist monk. And you're telling me 5,000 years of these guys praying to animals and creating meditation styles and martial art styles after animals, and they couldn't come up with one about a panda, the coolest animal ever?
Can I give you an argument?
Yeah, I want to hear it. While I crack up my drink.
Yeah, can I open my...
What's your argument?
So this is my argument.
Okay.
So the reason be because they haven't populated or haven't like popped up through human civilization is because before the discovery of 1869 with the pandas, right? Because pandas don't like having sex.
No, they don't.
They don't.
They hate it.
They hate. Yep.
And they don't know how to have sex.
So what if? So what if through time? Yeah. What if through time, the population got lower, 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 lower? But
well, how would it if it
I
been
also
big?
know. But what's up?
How would it even been large in the first place? If it gets lower and lower, lower, how did it grow to such a substantial size?
Well, do we know like where the tiger came from? We do, but we don't. Do we know where a pigeon came? A pigeon, another conspiracy theory. But you know where the pigeon came from? No. The argument can be made. It was like through time, it got less and less and less and less.
Yeah.
I don't know how illiterate the Chinese people were between the time period, or how important pandas were. And in 1869, a Frenchman was like, a panda's important.
Yeah.
But he discovered one was like, hey, man, there's probably one. He probably discovered one of like 200. And then it became important.
Yeah.
I can see that because if they don't know how to like have sex, or they know how to like produce more pandas.
So they have to learn.
I can see that. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see that.
They have to learn how to have sex. So they have to watch other pandas have sex for them to do it. And even then, they don't like to do it. We have to basically like force them.
How do you force a panda to have sex?
That you saw it earlier. They dress up like little pandas and they get in the pen. They get in the ring with them and they make them, dude. It's kind of sad. Yeah. So like I said, 5,000 years old. China is. No one's talking about it. And to me, I feel like pandas would. I feel like a monk would see a panda and immediately vibe with it and be like, "That is my spirit animal. I want to create a meditation method based on the panda." And they haven't. And they have no mythology ever. There's no mythology about them. And so there's a researcher that talked about the giant panda is not an animal of prominent ancient symbolic importance in China. It is not found on ancient metallurgy or pottery, nor does it have metaphorical meanings in Tang poetry or Qing porcelain. So in these practices of poetry and porcelain, no, they didn't do it. They didn't do any art with it. They didn't do any porcelain. They didn't do sculptures, pottery, messing around and stuff. Nobody made something of it. And it's just like, if you show a kid a bunch of animals, right? You take a kid to a zoo, and you're like, here's a cheetah. Here's like a bird. Here's an elephant and stuff. When they get to the pandas, I feel like kids immediately are like, dude, pandas are cool. Like everyone loves pandas. Everyone loves a panda.
I agree.
So why, like, the Chinese people just not have that gene in them? They just aren't interested in pandas? Because to us, they're like the coolest thing that ever lived. Like you could ask 100 people. I guarantee you, some of those people would say panda's their favorite animal.
What's more badass, a panda or a snake?
Oh, dude, snake.
Yeah, I'm saying. What's more badass, a panda or
pandas are cool. Dude.
Panda or a grizzly bear? I mean, for Americans, a grizzly bear.
Yeah, a grizzly bear.
But pandas are pretty cool. But what's better, a panda or a lion? A lion. A panda.
Lion's got too much to prove. He's got too big of an ego. Pandas don't have ego. They don't care. That's why I like pandas. They don't care. They don't care.
It's weird too that they eat just bamboo.
Yeah.
Or bamboo.
And they're clumsy, dude. They're tripping all over themselves all the time. They're falling over. Have you ever seen these little guys? Like,
yeah, they're funny as heck.
They're the funniest. They're the funniest animals ever, dude. I love them. But it's almost like they were designed to be adorable. And
like
that could be the thing.
Like a robot?
I don't think they were technically a robot, but some people do. But I don't think they're a robot. They're just too perfect, too adorable, too manufactured. You know what I mean?
I'm trying to see when it comes to manufacture. Trying to see that.
Yeah.
In what way? How are they manufactured? In what way?
Well, I mean, think about it. We just did that with dire wolves, right? You can make stuff. You can in a direwolf. It wasn't 100% direwolf DNA, so you can take things and you can genetically modify them. People do that with I mean,
So you tell me tech at the time was the same as now?
it doesn't. I mean, I don't know
It's
if
possible. I mean, we don't know where we live.
well, ancient. We talk about ancient tech all the time.
Yeah,
But
they got it.
I don't think it necessarily has to be that. But I mean, you know, with breeding, you know, like breeding dogs, we can make them look completely different.
What would you breed a panda with? What would like a panda?
Maybe a bear and a cat. That's why they're called bear cat.
A polar bear and I'd say a polar bear and a western grizzly bear. You could do that.
A polar bear and a grizzly?
Yeah, you can.
How would you get a oh, because they're white and black.
White and black.
Oh,
You
okay.
good?
Yeah.
It's kind of like
Then why would these two vicious creatures turn into this cute little thing that eats
hear me
bamboo?
out. It's kind of like what's it called when like an animal's all white?
Albino.
Albino,
Yeah.
but in like a different way.
Yeah, and they just paint the eyes. Chinese people are just painting the eyes. Yeah. Okay. So I mean, they could have engineered it. I don't know how, dude. Chinese, they're clever, right? They're always getting into stuff. But here's the weird thing, right? And I'm not trying to be whatever here. This is a fact. Chinese people eat a lot of different animals.
Oh yeah,
They eat everything, dude.
dog.
I mean, there's some places they do.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Yeah, some places they do.
I'm not judging.
Yeah, I'm not judging, and I'm not saying all Chinese people
Yeah.
eat dogs, but I'm just saying there are Chinese people out there that you put some cooked meat in front of them, and they're gonna devour it. You know what I mean?
I mean, if I'm hungry too, yeah.
Yeah. But the weird thing is, no Chinese people eat pandas. That's like the only animal they eat like insects and stuff, but they won't eat a panda.
Well, can you find panda in the forest?
You used to, since 1869 apparently. All of a sudden,
Well,
you
are they in forest or now or no?
yeah, apparently there's wild ones, but I've also seen claims that says we say there's wild ones, but there's no amateur footage of them.
See,
So they're
I've
like
never
only,
seen an amateur video of a panda in the forest.
every time you see it, it's National
In the zoo.
Geographic.
Yep,
yeah,
in a zoo.
or in a zoo.
Paint, spray.
It's weird, right? But like I said, it just keeps getting weirder. It keeps getting weirder. But they don't eat pandas, right? And this has nothing to do with Chinese tradition, right? So in 1983, there was a Chinese farmer who he was hunting for these like little tiny style deer that live around in China, right? And he set up a snare, and he was trying to snare one of these little tiny deers. And what do you know? Lo and behold, a big old dumb panda walked over it and snared his leg, and it died. I guess he set the snare and came back a week later, and it was dead. He couldn't get out because they're idiots, right? But he was scared because he didn't want to get in trouble from the Chinese government, so he tried to hide the evidence by cooking it and eating it.
I mean, I do the same thing too.
He didn't want it to go
I'd
to
be
waste.
scared. I'd be scared.
Yeah, at least that was his excuse. I don't even
catch
technically
camps.
believe that he probably was just like, damn, this thing might be good. So he cooked this thing up, and now he stir fried it with turnips.
Sounds good.
He stir fried it,
Sounds
and
good.
guess what he was? Guess what his job was? He catch these deer. Guess what his job was? Szechuan chef.
What's that? What's that?
It's like it's basically a chef of like a Szechuan. Like you never heard of like Szechuan sauce?
Nah.
Oh,
Sounds like sweet. You know.
it's
Like,
spicy,
sweet.
bro. It's like
I
hot
think
and
of
spicy.
sweet. I think
Remember
of
those
sweet.
eggs I made with that spicy sauce on
Yeah.
top? It's kind of like that.
Mm.
So imagine some fucking deer meat, dude, stir fried, hot, high heat on a deer meat with
Rice
that.
too. Rice in it.
Yeah, probably rice, dude. I'd imagine. But get this. So he did it with turnips. This dude was like, I'm about to make something new. And he's a professional chef. That's his livelihood. He said, quote, "It was disgusting. It was inedible." That's what he said.
That's all he said.
He was a man of few words.
Wait, what year was it? What year was this?
1983. So this dude's job as a Szechuan chef is to cover things with spices and make anything taste good. He
Okay,
could cut off the paws of a
Okay,
monkey and
what's
make them
a
taste like
what's a
fried
vegetarian?
chicken.
What's a vegetarian mammal that we can eat?
Cow, chicken, goat, lamb.
We can't eat bears though, right? Or can we?
People eat bears and they say they're pretty good. That's the weird thing. People say bears are pretty good. You
But
have to be
bears are
careful.
carnivores though. Bears are
They're
carnivores.
omnivores.
Omnivores.
Except the polar bear. Polar
Yeah,
bear.
omnivore means they eat fish, right?
No, omnivores, they eat vegetables and meat. But polar bears are just carnivores, I believe.
Well, have you had bamboo before?
Bears?
No,
Here?
have you had bamboo before?
Yeah.
I mean, we can eat bamboo.
Yeah, yeah.
Is it good?
I mean, I don't think I eat the same bamboo that they eat, but when I ate it, yeah, it's pretty good.
I'm trying to think of
And I eat
why
it steamed and
why
cooked.
panda would taste terrible.
And that's the thing too. So a panda's body, I think it was after this French dude caught it and sent it back. There was a little time after that where they caught a panda and they cut it open, and scientists were completely confused by its anatomy of its stomach and stuff because they were like, "This is a carnivore. Its teeth. Have you seen a panda's teeth?
Yeah, it looks like a bear.
Yeah, it should be eating meat.
So why not?
I don't know. They only eat bamboo.
Were they robots?
And here's the thing. They excrete poop and pee all day long, dude. That's all they do is they poop and pee all day long. Like, you
They're
probably
dumb
have
bugs.
like 1 or 2
They're dumb
poops a
bugs.
day. They don't stop pooping and peeing all day long. And all they eat is bamboo. From the minute they wake up, they have to nonstop keep eating bamboo or they'll starve. So their body's not designed. It's like you eating lettuce, cabbage, celery all day.
It sounds like kind of like a fish. Like how a fish, I mean, it's stupid to say, but it's kind of like how a fish will like just poop when it swims.
Yeah.
It's like it just poops.
And you know what's weird too? Pandas, they only pee upside down. That's another weird fact about a panda.
I'm trying to think of how I would pee upside
They
down.
get on a tree and they walk their legs up the tree and they do a handstand and they just pee.
That's pretty cool.
But why? The only
That's
other
pretty cool,
animals that
though.
do that is
That's
a
pretty
bat.
cool. That's
Bats
pretty
are the bats and sloths.
Is that pretty cool though?
Yeah, it's really cool. They
I wanna
piss all over
I
themselves.
want to see it in person.
Yeah, they piss all over themselves. Why would they do that? They're the only animal other than a bat that does that, which makes no sense.
It doesn't make sense.
So, they piss upside down. And like I said earlier, there's fewer than 2,500 pandas in the world, and there is roughly 600 of these pandas in zoos or breeding centers, right? Breeding centers. And so originally, we talked about the Chinese gifting other countries pandas. They don't do that anymore. I want to play a quick video. We're going to look at something real quick about Nixon talking about pandas.
President Nixon?
Yep. It was around the time of that doc, I believe.
Yeah. So in any event, you're going to get the pandas.
We're going to get both of them.
Yeah. Oh yes. Now, as a matter of fact, let me tell you an interesting thing about that. You must not.
It's gonna get weird.
You can only use on your own if you want. And went on and on. But I was just talking to Rob Haldeman, who talked to his Chinese hosts, and this question of mating is very interesting. This is a male and a female.
Uh-huh.
The problem, however, with pandas is that they don't know how to mate. The only way they learn how is to watch other pandas mate, you see? And so they're keeping them there a little while, these are younger ones, to sort of learn, how it's done.
Learn the ropes.
Now, if they don't learn it, they'll get over here, nothing will happen. So I just thought you should have your best reporter out there to see whether these
we
pandas
certainly will.
have learned. So now that I've given you the story of pandas, let you get back to your more serious questions.
That was the main part. So he was worried, basically, that the pandas would come over here that China was trying to gift us as like a favor, and they weren't going to mate because pandas don't know how to mate. So if they sent pandas over here, doesn't every animal by instinct know how to mate?
Yeah.
But pandas don't.
So did they send pandas over here?
Yeah.
They don't.
Originally, China, around this time in the 1900s, they were gifting out pandas. And here's where it gets really weird, right? And this is where China started to make money off of pandas. So basically now, originally they were gifted out to different countries in good faith. And now they're leased for $1 million per year. If you want a panda in your zoo, you have to pay China $1 million per year.
So I can buy like 20 pandas if I want to.
So if you want 20 pandas in a zoo, you need to pay $20 million to China.
A year?
and they lease them to you. If you don't pay, give us our pandas back. Yeah. And there was even a weird thing. It's like they've coined the term panda diplomacy because China uses them as bargaining chips now. So if China's upset at you, they want their pandas back.
This sounds more political than anything.
Yeah, but it's weird. Why are they using pandas as political, like, diplomatic tools?
I mean, I want to see a panda. I can't see a panda right now.
So get this.
Why people want to see it.
China was mad because they found out Obama was going to set up a meeting with the Dalai Lama.
What's that?
It's like a Tibetan. He's like blacklisted for China. China hates him. But he's like Tibetan, I think. He's a monk. And because he goes against, I don't know, apparently they don't like really religious people over there. They just want you to work or something. So there's a Dalai Lama. He's really famous. He's basically like the most famous monk. And Obama was going to go have a meeting with him. And China was like, don't meet with this guy. We don't support him. This guy sucks. And Obama was like, screw you. I'm going to go meet this guy. And he went and met him anyways. And guess what? Days later, there was a panda named Taishan. They said, give him back. You pissed us off. And they took the panda back. And we were paying $1 million a year for this thing. And they said, nah, screw you. Give us our panda back. So they're making money off of these things, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, like, no one else has a panda. It's a national treasure.
Yeah, exactly. No one else has a panda except China.
They're prideful people.
They're prideful people, but they're the only ones with
it's kind of like
pandas, and they're using them for money.
If we were to look at a panda, right, as like oil.
Yeah.
I'm not going to give you oil because I'm prideful about my oil. Unless you pay me a price.
Yeah.
Because your people want it.
Yeah. But everyone, I mean, like, the U.S. has oil. We just don't use it.
What's unique to China? Pandas.
I mean.
No one else has a panda. I'd pay high price for that shit, too.
Do you know how much a panda fur is?
How much?
$100,000.
What the fuck? Come
for a panda on the black market.
Get out of here.
On a black market.
Get out of here.
For panda fur,
Come on.
it's $100,000.
There's no way.
Yes, and Vox and ABC both confirmed it. Pandas are just as much about politics.
I'm telling you now, pandas are not that. Not that worth it much. There's no way.
Yeah, so
they're not. They're not. There's
not,
no way. Come
yeah,
on.
I mean,
come on.
You get a bear. Honestly, I'd probably do a grizzly. It'd be cooler than a panda. Like.
I'd argue. I think a polar bear would be cool.
Yeah, a polar bear would be cooler too than a panda.
A polar bear will pet like a.
But imagine this: you have a new girlfriend. You're bringing her over to your apartment, let's say.
Yeah.
And you walk in the front door, and there's a skinned alive. There's a panda laying on the floor. Do you think she's gonna say that's really cool, or do you think she's gonna like hate you?
Am I with a?
She's going to hate you. She's going to hate you. She's not going to think you're cool. If you had a grizzly, she'll think, oh, dude, did you battle it? Did you kill that thing?
Did you go with the war that I made? Did you
Yeah.
do war?
Yeah. If
Right,
it's a
shout
panda,
out
she's
to
like,
556.
really? He didn't even fight back, probably. You probably walked up and stabbed him.
I think it'd be pretty cool to see a panda, in my opinion, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's very unique.
Yeah.
I'd
And look,
say I'd buy it on the black market or something like that. Like, I didn't kill it.
yeah. And
Just
look,
a
I'm
lighter.
not saying that China's are people in suits. I'm not saying that. But I will say that China's done it before. Now, watch this. This is what I'm about to show you. This is
Oh,
crazy.
here we go.
This is a real thing, dude. This was in a Chinese zoo, bro.
It's a dog. A dog.
They put those in the zoo. Those are baby chow chows. And they painted them.
It's a dog.
Yeah, it's a freaking dog, dude. It's a dog. And look at this thing. This is in a Chinese zoo,
Is
too.
this a man in a bear suit or an actual bear? According to employees at the Hangzhou Zoo, this is definitely a bear. The internet questioned whether the zoo's bears were real after photos circulated showing one standing upright on slender
Yeah, these things are just walking around. They're pretty weird. But, I mean, look. You know, there's some weird stuff. And, honestly, are you really going to sit here and tell me that China's never lied about anything?
No, I'm not gonna lie here. I'm not say here. Say not, no. But I mean, I've seen the teeth of a panda. I've seen the mouth of a panda.
Look,
I feel like-
it's a far-fetched idea, right? But I wouldn't call it the strangest animal of all time. I wouldn't call it that.
No, I've seen.
But I'd say it's weird. Its behaviors are weird.
Yeah.
It doesn't know how to do anything.
I mean, what is the strangest animal you've seen to compare to it? Like, what's a strange like?
The strangest animal to me is an octopus. That's alien to me. I think octopus are aliens.
We eat the octopus. I mean,
So?
are they dumb aliens then?
No, dude, they're extremely smart.
So they'll let themselves kill themselves?
No, they're smart in a different way, you know?
I
They're probably
I agree that they're aliens, but I think, like humans terms, right? Aliens are like octopus is like dumb butt. Like that's a dumb guys. I think ours in comparison would be like a cow.
A cow?
A cow.
How?
So octopus are very available. You can eat them in a heartbeat. Like you can eat it and just kill it and shoot it and eat it.
What?
Like octopus, right? So I think our cows are aliens octopus. Think about it.
Our cows are alien octopus?
Yes.
Oh, I see. Let me break it
Yes.
down. We're humans. We're on a higher intelligence level. And there's plenty of animals on our planet.
Yes.
And aliens, there's probably an alien that's bipedal
Yep.
and walks and talks like us, but there's also lower intelligence level aliens.
Yep.
And an octopus is one of those. Like a fish version of an
Yeah.
alien. Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. But I'll tell you what's weirder. Again, nothing to do with pandas, but I want to talk about this.
Yeah.
Have you seen the conspiracy theory about people going crazy about dolphins being aliens?
No.
Dude. Okay, just real quick, I'm going to tell you Russia has used dolphins as spies to gain information about our naval ships and our submarines in the past for many years. They're smart. There is a law, international law, no country allows you, this is what it's called, do not try to communicate with a dolphin. Dolphins have extremely in-depth languages like we do. Their languages might even be more in-depth than ours. They're mammals like we are. And people say that those are like aliens, like high intelligent aliens, and like we're not supposed to mess with them.
You know the pigeon male, the male pigeon, like what's it called, the pigeon male who would send out mail and like, you know, pigeons were used for like
sending messages and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, they're extinct
World
now.
War I?
Yeah.
What do you mean they're extinct?
No,
The
yeah,
male pigeons?
Yeah, like the male pigeons are extinct. They were different than the regular pigeon.
Oh, really?
And there's a conspiracy now about how they're different. How pigeons are now for cameras.
Yeah.
It's
Like
not.
a
It's not
surveillance?
for mail anymore. It's for surveillance.
Surveillance.
But
Wow.
that's a cool theory. I mean, I do believe UFOs are in the ocean.
Yeah.
I do agree. I believe in that. I firmly believe in that.
It's a weird one. I mean, definitely dolphins are weird, dude. And if you ever look at
Yeah.
a dolphin's eyes, something don't sit right with me about their eyes.
You know what is said right about me?
What?
I mean, we're going off topic with the panda
That's
now.
fine. Why not?
The megalodon.
Yeah.
I think it's still there.
You think he's still down there?
Yeah.
You watched The Meg with Jason Statham, didn't
No,
you?
I've seen everything. I went in a loophole about 2 years ago.
Now that's a big shock.
Yeah, dude. I went into a loophole about 2 years ago about the megalodon. There's no way he's not still alive.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe he is. The ocean is huge, right?
Yeah. There's a reason why NASA left the ocean.
Like they were like they started off interested in the ocean. They're like, nah.
There's a
we're
reason
done with
why.
it. Yeah.
I mean, if I was here or something, I'm running away.
Yeah.
I'd run away.
Dude.
If you're a UFO, right? And you're way smarter than me.
Yeah.
And I go to space because I want to discover space.
Yeah.
For funsies.
Yeah.
We had to go there. And I met you, and you're way above me. I'd be like, yeah, let's take like about 100 years to come back to this shit because I gotta be friends. I gotta be friends with you.
Yeah.
I have to learn how to work with you because you're way advanced than me.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, the ocean's there.
I'm actually.
That's why I went to space, not the ocean.
Yeah. I want to go into that. I think after this part is done, I want to show you something. I want to talk to you about something, and we'll just see where it goes. But
Can you take a piss?
Yeah, go take a
You sure?
piss. Yeah, dude, go take a piss. Why not?
Panda-sized void even felt across the world, with dogs being used as unlikely stand-ins.
Zoos are there to educate. Zoos are there to inspire.
No, that pisses me off.
Zoos
That
are
pisses
to
me
promote
off.
conservation.
Because you go somewhere
They're
to see a
not there to
freaking
promote painting domestic
panda?
animals.
panda, but you don't see a panda, you see freaking dogs.
Yeah, dude. Well, to be fair, I mean, if I really wanted to be like, if I wanted to critique this, I would say that there's a ton of different zoos owned by different people, and they're all private, probably. So, I mean, there's probably some cheapskate that was like, oh, dude, I don't want to fucking pay for a panda.
No.
So we're going to pay these dogs. Why would you do that? They thought they'd get away with it. Okay, the puppies, I feel like you get away with. The adults, the adult chow chows, dude, there's no, those are straight dogs.
Bro was
Their
on his
tails
hind legs. He was wearing the crowd. He goes, you can't fake that, man.
All right, I'm going to go through a quick list, and then we're going to end this panda discussion once and for all, and then you can make up your mind. So pandas eat only bamboo when their digestive system definitely suggests they should be eating meat. But again, they could just be completely stupid. Pandas could be complete idiots, and they just don't know. They just see their parents eat bamboo, and they think they got to eat bamboo, just like they got to learn how to have sex. They just don't know. But yeah, so when they eat the bamboo, they digest nearly none of it. So none of it, they don't digest any of it. And they need 70 to 100 pounds of bamboo a day. 100 pounds, dude. You see the food eating challenges, right?
Yeah.
A crazy one, I mean, I think I could probably do 3 pounds of food in a
Not
sitting.
70 to 100. That's crazy.
I mean, a food challenge, maybe they eat like 18, 16 pounds of food. Humans.
Yeah.
A panda eats about 100 pounds a day. And they have to forage for food for 10 to 16 hours a day to survive, just to maintain nonstop eating, right? And that's with pooping constantly, by the way. They have the eyes like a cat. They urinate upside down. And this is the weird one, right? When you talked about that their population has been dwindling. There's only one time a year that they can mate. One time a year. And it's all based on the female. There's a 24-hour period.
Sounds like humanity.
Yeah, a 24 to 36-hour period. So let's be generous. Give her a 36-hour period where she can mate to be able to have a baby once a year. Once a year for 36 hours. And the guys, they're not even interested. They don't even want to have sex. The zookeepers have to make them. So you have 36 hours in the wild. Let's just say without zookeepers. You have 36 hours in the wild to make this happen.
Well, how do you know?
Who knows? They don't even know. They don't want to. So why would they be having sex if they didn't want to? In the 36-hour period. So it's like, if you have a 36-hour period, I'm thinking this animal is like banging all the time, nonstop, every day, like 3 times a day. You know what I mean? Like the horniest animal of all time. That to me is like, okay, it would make sense how they would evolve to ovulate 36 hours out of the year just to keep the population down. But we're talking about a small population, and we're talking about 36 hours a year and one day, basically. A little over a day. And they don't even want to have sex. So that to me is pretty strange, right? It seems like they were like probably genetically modified to be created because there's just too many things. And the mating apparently is rare and awkward. I'm not going to pull up a video, but you can look it up on your own time. And I don't know if you've ever seen a baby panda. Have you ever seen a baby panda? They're like they're gummy bears, bro. They literally look like gummy worms. They're like this big, and they're red, and they have nothing on them. They're nothing.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
For real?
Yeah. They're like these
So
tiny.
when they give birth, it's big?
Yeah. And they literally are like, they're like wet, and they're like all like jiggly.
So it's usually like early birth kind of thing, or no?
I don't know. No one knows. That's just how they give birth to like little gummy bears that develop into these giant things. And you know what's great? Okay, this is another thing that's pretty cool. So, in science, you look at things like how we always talk about like how humans evolved. Did we evolve? Were we created? Looking at early hominids, looking about how we changed over time. We do that with all sorts of animals. There is no fossil records of a panda that's ever been found. There's no fossil records that have ever been found of a panda.
You for real?
I'm serious. So that's another one, right? And what do we always talk about when consequences start adding up? It's like that's a little weird, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So no fossil records. They don't like to mate. And then how did they survive this long, right? Doesn't make sense. So there's no evidence that they ever existed before the 1800s. And I honestly think that it's like propaganda from the Chinese government or from whoever. Probably for money. You know what I mean? They're making $1 million a year to sell to lease these things out. So that's pretty much all I got. I shot my shot. I tried to convince you. What do you think in the end?
So one thing I think of, I mean, the only thing I'm convinced of currently right now, I'd say is this. I think they were genetically modified. I literally think so now. Like they're not like original. It's like someone along the line, it was mixed up of something and it became a panda. The second thing is, what makes probably the most sense is that there was a big amount of pandas,
Yeah.
and through time it got less, and it was hard to discover, and then someone discovered them, and then now they're pretty much like specialized. Like, hey, we got to keep pandas going.
So you think the number it dwindled down to
It went
pretty
down,
much
yeah.
nothing?
It went down before it went extinct. But what you kind of like caught me off guard was the fossils.
Yeah. The fossils
That's
is
weird.
To me,
That
that's
is
weird.
That's
Yeah.
weird. I mean, so we always talk about relevancy. Like, to stay relevant, you need something special.
Yeah.
And when it comes to animals, China is relevant because of pandas.
Yeah.
Straight up. I mean, dragons are not real.
Yeah.
I mean, currently right now, I mean, no one knows dragons are real.
Yeah.
Flying snakes, no. I mean, any kind of animals, like, we all know, but what makes China is pandas because of animals.
Yeah.
I mean,
It was also the I think it's called the WWF. I'm gonna look that up real quick. Yeah, the World Wildlife Fund for Endangered Species Conservation.
Where's pandas at?
That's their logo, a panda.
What?
That's been their logo since they started.
So the
in 1961.
Worldwide Fund for Species is
Endangered
species.
Conservation.
It's a panda.
Yeah. It's weird.
They may have been endangered, like I said, like we're endangered. Can you look up how extinct right now currently pandas are? Like how like
There's
endangered
2,500 of them left.
So they're endangered.
And 600 of those 2,500 are in zoos or in breeding camps trying to make these things.
So where's this other 1,900?
In the wild, apparently.
In China, just China.
Just China.
What?
Yeah.
I mean, you're telling me a panda can't survive in the northern hemisphere, well, the northern location of America?
I mean, it could probably survive here, but, they need 100 pounds of bamboo a day.
No, I think they'll turn to carnivores
Do
or
you,
omnivores. Yeah, they would. Yeah,
you think if you starved one
yeah.
and it would eat meat?
Just give them fish. Here you go, have fun.
Fish?
Yeah, it's kind of
Yeah, I
like
feel like they'd eat a fish.
no, it's the truth. Your baby, like if you had a baby, right?
Yeah.
Your baby is only known to vegetarian.
Yeah.
His whole life's gonna be like, I want to be a vegetarian. If he eats steak, he gets sick.
Yeah, yeah.
It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
It's like their whole life they've been only taught to eat
Because they're
bamboo.
idiots.
They're idiots.
Yeah. They are dumb.
But if you show them meat at birth, they'll eat that.
Yeah, yeah. It's
It-
kind of
it-
like how
it-
a baby, you're supposed to introduce like peanut butter,
Yeah.
shrimp to babies so they don't develop allergic reactions. Yeah, I could see that.
I mean, that's how you should do it, in my opinion.
So, I mean, final thoughts for me.
I think pandas are real, but
I think they're real. As
But
in the
there's-
fact, they're not humans in suits or animatronics or anything like that.
yeah, but there's something low key going on.
Yeah. And that's what's weird. I think we need to dive deep into, like, we always dive deep into the Illuminati, the Freemasons, the shadow government, a one world order. We always dive deep into those. But, like, that's all has to do with, like, the United States and, like, Europe. But, like, what's going on in China? They must have their own version of that. You know what I mean? Because they don't
Well-
fall victim to the same games that we play.
So, like, I feel like being in a very privileged government where we can have just freedom of speech, we're not taught, hey, this is real.
Yeah.
You know, we're taught to have an open mind. Over there, it's like, it's all you know.
Yeah.
This is what you're told.
Yeah.
And that's the issue, though, is we don't have capabilities. We do, maybe. I don't know if we don't. But we don't have capabilities where we can go in and be like, where we're learning where it's like, no, this is wrong, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm very privileged, I'd say.
Yeah.
But something like small of the pandas, right? There's a bigger thing going on, maybe, you know?
Yeah, I think so.
Like,
I honestly do think so. When I first found out about this, I was like, look, this is a joke. This is silly, you know? But as I got deeper into it, I was like, hey, you know what I mean? Maybe there's some truth to this. And like I said, not humans, not animatronics like a lot of people say, but I think maybe, just maybe, these things were genetically engineered or they had some sort of thing.
when you look at the chest, the breast area moves. They say it's a female.
What do you mean the breast area? The thing
Look at the
walking
breast.
other
Look at the
way.
breast area. Look at the breast area. How it's a female. It moves.
Dude, that is totally a guy in an outfit.
No.